Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here with Block Wednesday. This is my favorite day of the week when we do our Wednesday block. And so to celebrate home is, and we're going into the last section of the quilt, the third section, the bottom part. We have a great big block, a big beautiful 16.5-inch block. Here it is. I've got a stand for it. I think I'll just hold it up. Then I could be in the picture too. So here it is, and we're going to celebrate today those sort of fancy dinners that you have at your home when you bring out the good china, or you bring out specialty dishes and plates and maybe decorations, because today is Cinco de Mayo Day, and so you might decorate your table for this for today. You might have bring out your fiesta ware like I have, or my dad hangs a piñata. We're going there for some dinner tonight. You know, it's that kind of a thing. And so we want to celebrate. Do you have fancy dishes? You know, we don't actually have fancy dishes. I didn't go that route ever, but my mom did. You know, my dad and his wife do. So the fancy dishes might come out for, you know, Thanksgiving, but there's also just those specialty dishes, which I really think are fun. When you have a certain holiday, maybe at Easter, you have a really pretty deviled egg plate that you use, and you know, that's spring-like, and you put it out. So today, this is our block. It's a big 16-incher, which I think would make a super fantastic full quilt. Here, let me hold it here a second. So I just gave you a really simple bonus layout where if you wanted to do a full quilt, and this would be like 54 by 54 square, well, you could do one more row and it would be longer, and then and you could just play around with your fabrics and get all different kind of designs. Now I want to show you how I picked these particular fabrics, because I went through a bit of a process looking at them, and so I taped that for you. While laying this block out, there's a lot of ways you could go with the fabric. So I thought we'd take a look at a couple of them where the block is not totally made yet, so that you can see sort of the process that I went through. So let's go down here. What I wanted to do was bring some different colors in. I've got my bin of fabrics here, and now that we're on the bottom row, I'm really trying to work on color placement and what that's really going to look like. So these are big squares. These are big half square triangles. That's a lot of space. So I did not want a little tiny print like, let's say like this, because that would just read really, really solid from a distance. So I wanted something that was big. So there were a couple of the prints that I'm working with was this dot, and I've only really had one big wide strip of it, so I thought that's pretty perfect. Another great one would have been my Morrison Park. You know, that would have been really nice there, because it would have given a whole lot of visibility to that print. Another one that I had in here that I think would have looked really good was this sort of line drawing of flowers. So that was with the stitched line that I was pulled a lot of this from. But I decided I would go with the dots, because I love dots. I love, 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 love dots. Now the thing is, this dot is a different sort of shade of blue than a lot of the others. It's very dusty, it's more grayed. And so looking at some of the blues that could go with it, what I noticed is that if I put this blue from this fabric line, it just, it kind of clashed a little bit to me. It didn't really work as well. But when I went with this deeper one, now this is more like an indigo, and if I don't know if your monitors are going to see the difference, but I'll put that blue on top there. You can see this blue is got a different shade to it. This dark went much better with the dots. So that is what I ended up with. Now, I think that this piece here really makes the unit sparkle, you know, and it could go a zillion different ways. So first I grabbed this text print, and that's what you see down in there, and that text print is very similar in navy to this, but it has a whole lot of white because it has all of that writing on it. So it gives it a different look than something that is more open, like, well, like the star in the middle. This will be the star, and there's the star points. So this is the block that I ended up going with, but I went through that whole series of these different fabrics, looking at the colors and trying to, you know, figure out what did I really want this great big block to be. There you go. Easy to audition because the pieces are big, and if you've got some sort of great focus fabric, that's what you should use here, I think, to give that big punch to the quilt. Now I want to remind you that you have the layout already. A few of our friends have been having trouble finding the layout. It's on the project page. Under every single download that you do for a block, like today, I have a link to the project page, and at the end you download the pattern, which is like 8 pages long, and so it tells you all the directions to sew the layout. So in case you haven't done that yet and gotten the layout, or you joined a little bit late and so you're just catching up, that's on the project page. Now I want to show you a few of our friends' quilts because they, let me just sit on this side, we'll put them up here. Over in my Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, people have been sharing the top, and I wanted to show you them in different colorways because there are quite a few people doing the blue and white like I am doing, you know, basically blues and whites, but there are a large group of you doing all different colors. So first, let me put up Jane's, because Jane's has a variety of colors. She's doing, you know, just, you know, they're sort of the same tone, but there's a whole lot of different colors of fabric in there, and it looks fantastic. Now here is Miriam's, and she picked a really warm, cozy palette. It looks very fall. Looks like a super cuddly fall quilt, like you'd want to put flannel on the back of that one. Amy did hers in pinks and blues, which is just so adorable. Look at that. It's just so sweet and so just really, really spring-like. Okay, we've got a couple others here. Jeanette's I love, that looks a bit like citrusy colors to me, you know, sort of very, very summery colors. Okay, this, we have 2 Jennifers in a row. So this Jennifer's really is, you know, quite fantastic in black, red, and white. So, you know, I don't think you can go wrong with black, red, and white in a quilt. Just like doing a blue and white quilt or a red and white quilt, you know, black, red, and white just sparkle. And then our last one is also by Jennifer, and she has some novelty prints in there with bees on it. And then, so she's repeated the bee fabric, and then she has another floral in there that she's repeated. So there's power in the repeat. So if you're doing a quilt like this, a sampler of blocks, if you have a particular fabric that you keep using all around the quilt, that is a really effective way to balance out the colors and give a really cohesive quilt in the end. All right, so I don't know, this is another one. I want to make like a whole quilt with this block. I just love it. I just love it. It's like, okay. A couple other things. One, I had promised, but I'm not going to have it. It didn't happen. I am working on the supply list for the next Block Wednesday, but it didn't get done. It didn't get done for today. I'd hoped it would get done for today, but there's no reason for me to push it. I will get it out between now and next Wednesday, and then talk about it again on Wednesday. So you'll probably hear about it a couple of times, but it'll be another couple of days. And the reason why is just I just felt very distracted with still trying to find my FedEx package, and so there is no new status. I've been on the phone, you know, almost daily, you know, with different people. Always, which is fine. You know, they've got documentation in there, but it hasn't been found yet. And yes, we did ask, you know, it didn't go to a neighbor's house that we know of. You know, all the neighbors were asked. You know, all the normal things were done before I came on here to say something and ask if there's anybody here who knew some magical person at FedEx high up that could go and look for my package. Because like I told them, put on my document there that I've been working with sending packages by FedEx for 21 years, and you have never lost one. And I don't think you want this to be the first one on my record. We want to find this. You know, issue them a challenge. But you know, a couple of friends have written me, so we'll see. Maybe their contacts can find the magic entry that gets somebody out there. And, you know, I cannot go in their system and look for it. All I can do is call the numbers and walk through the process, the filing process, because I have a case report now. Because I'm not giving up. The quilt is not big. I could remake it, but I don't want to. It's at this point, I think the package should be found. Anyway, that has been my little distraction. So, you know, this way life sometimes is a bit crappy, you know, those kind of things. And this sort of, you know, you don't feel so motivated when you're so distracted by crappy stuff occasionally, and that's just the way it's been for me. So I will get the other stuff going pretty soon. It'll be out there soon. One last thing to wrap up. It's something on a positive note. I got these blocks from Jolly Bar 3, the little sew and flip. I was doing the friendship bracelet and all these little half square. My stupid hands. Can't hold things. So all those little half square triangles are from the Jolly Bar 3, the sew and flip that I cut off. You know, they would be like, you know, these little guys, and then I trimmed them down so they're 1 inch finished. And then I decided on a red inner border because, you know, red, you know, how could I not do red, right? Why did I even ask if it should be navy? You can see here, these are the pictures I had of red and navy to audition. Now the other thing that happened is I ended up with a slightly different blue outer border because the one that I had, I could not do along the long side on here because I want to make this in the big pillow that I have. Those pieces were pre-cut that I had been using for some free motion quilting classes, and I didn't have any yardage of it. All I had was these big squares, and their length was a little too short for doing the pillow. And so I hunted around, and I knew I had another blue with some other fabric that I had kept for a future project for myself. And you know, yes, I do that. Do I ever make them? No, but I do save them. I think you do too. These little piles of fabric, like, yes, this will be a nice quilt. Anyway, I digress. I had to grab that. So let me show you the difference. Because it's not huge. This that I used is a tiny bit darker. So there they are. So it's a tiny bit darker. This was the ones that I just had squares. So I'm good. I'm good with that because I debated, do I just go and order some more of this? And I'm like, no, that's totally ridiculous. This blue is similar. It still looks wonderful. I'm good. Sometimes you just have to say no. No to yourself. No, you do not need to go buy more. You have something that works as well. At least that's what I tell myself. And I did it. I cut it. So now I can quilt it. I'm just going to quilt it in probably my the wave lines that quilt the front and then make the pillow. So that I will switch all my quilts over to sort of Americana. This will be for my living room. Okay, fancy dinners today. Tell me about your dishes in your home, what you use when you're doing things that are just not your normal dinners. Your fun dinners, your themed dinners, your fancy dinners. I'm so glad you were here, my friend. All the links are down below. Please hit that subscribe so we can chat all the time. I love you. Mwah. See you online.